Yeah, Fortnite really just posted that, and it's way more important than we might think. We've got weird replies from Epic, red energy showing up again, a familiar POI acting strange, and a classic event with some very spiritual twists this time around. Oh, and Fortnite just changed their whole look for something that's supposedly just repeating itself? Yeah, something's off. Please consider using code Dr. P in the Fortnite item shop. All the cool kids are doing it, and I would really appreciate your support. So yesterday on social media, Fortnite posted a teaser clip of the upcoming rocket launch event happening on July 26, but I find the captions and the wording that they've used to be especially interesting. On the tweet itself, it says, "Sure hope these coordinates are right." If you scroll down a little bit, you can see someone replied and said, "Fortnite, what happens if the coordinates aren't right?" That's when Fortnite replies and says, "I guess we'll find out soon." I don't know about you, but to me that sure sounds like the coordinates might not be right. Just saying. Arguably even more interesting is the caption they used on the video itself. It says, "I hear it over and over again in my mind." I could of course be totally wrong, but it sure sounds like that is from the POV of the visitor. Given the fact that we know the visitor remembers this island, has fond memories, surely he remembers his previous rocket launch event. The event that started it all. Of course, we already know that the rocket launch event is going to be slightly different. It's going to have a red butterfly and a red corrupted rift that it creates. But hearing that the coordinates might not be right for the visitor's rocket makes me think the visitor might not exactly be going where he thinks he's going. More on that in a little bit. It's recently been brought up that in a billboard at Supernova Academy, you can see a spire in a POI that is very likely to be Tilted Towers. Along with the new information about the red rift and the red butterfly and the OG rocket event, I definitely find this to be very suspicious. Could the corrupted crack be sending spires to the OG island rather than cubes? Maybe, but not so fast. It seems like the community's consensus is that the spire picture from Tilted is actually out of reload, with the main reason being what Epic said about Fortnite OG when it came out, saying that it will run through the original initial seasons of Chapter 1, recreating those early days right down to loot pool changes and feature introductions. And that might be true, but I find it really hard to lock it in as a guarantee that it's a picture from Reload, and the reasoning for me is because do we know what the first target was from the OG rocket back in the day, and likely in this upcoming event too? It was Tilted Towers. That was the first place the rocket went towards. Also, I mean, we're gonna have a red crack in the sky, which is the same color as many of the spires. Let's not forget, this image is legitimately on a real billboard at Supernova Academy, so it definitely means something, and that is definitely Tilted Towers, there's no question. It's simply a matter of Reload or OG. Fortunately, we're not going to have to wait too long to find out. Fortnite's marketing alone for the upcoming rocket event has been pretty crazy. They've made multiple posts about it in the last couple days, and maybe even more importantly, they've changed the whole layout of their social media pages. They've changed their profile picture to match the whole layout of the Chapter 1 Season 4 OG Pass, which of course, as I've mentioned before on the channel, definitely has a strong Chrome resemblance. And if you look at the profile picture they've added, it of course is pretty chromy to me. And then of course their banner, which shows the visitor and the rocket. So yeah, they're obviously taking this whole event seriously and ramping up their marketing. One of the other posts they made about the rocket launch event changed the name of the event, although in-game it does still say Blast Off, so that's kind of confusing, but the caption on this one says, "From the darkest depths of space." There definitely seem to be some tie-ins there to the visitor Reality Unknown. Really makes you think. Here's a comment from my last video from Awesome Guy 4000 who says, "Yo, the dice! Someone tell him about the dice. There is about to be a red cube." If you're unfamiliar, in Chapter 3 there was a POI called the Joneses. Now, at that POI, there was a setup showing a cube on a table. It was blue, which of course is the friendly cube towards loopers. But on the table, you can see a couple of die, a yellow die, a purple die, and a red die. Assuming these die are also representing cubes, red is the only one we haven't seen yet. Of course, with the red rifts and the butterfly, the callback on this teaser seems to be pretty strong. Of course, we've also talked about the yellow cube quite a bit and how that could be what's coming instead of a red one, but either way, I really feel like what's to come out of the corrupted crack is not going to be a normal purple Kevin. Next, I want to showcase a theory from the Raging Reaper, which suggests the visitor might be getting sent to the spirit realm. In summary, the visitor is set to launch his rocket, but recent Fortnite teasers suggest something may go wrong. With a corrupted red rift expected to appear, it's believed this rift is caused by the red butterfly, likely sent by the dark presence to sabotage the rocket's path. This would accidentally send the visitor into the spirit realm, and a spire spotted in Tilted Towers may confirm the OG map is involved. And with the visitor potentially stranded in the spirit realm, the stage is set for a major rescue storyline. To me, this theory checks a lot of boxes. It perfectly aligns with the stuff that Fortnite has been saying about the coordinates not being correct. And since we know the Dark Presence has possession of a Zero Shard, and especially since the Spirit Realm has been the focal point of our entire Chapter 6 so far, these red anomalies make sense. If the rift does open up a path to the Spirit Realm on OG, that would explain how there's a spire at Tilted Towers. We are officially less than 1 week away from the visitor relaunching his rocket, and something to note, during the warm-up phase of the rocket, roughly about 1 hour before the event, the entirety of the villain lair will become a safe zone with weapons disabled. The player will be able to respawn and will also be invincible. So it seems like they're taking a bit more of the modern approach here with this event, even though it's an old event, which I can appreciate because I, for one, definitely remember being at the original rocket launch event and being killed right away and being forced to spectate someone who wasn't even looking at the rocket, and man, that was just not fun. So this is definitely a nice quality of life change for this event. I'm so curious to hear your guys' thoughts and theories on everything we just covered in this video. Is this a direct line from the visitor? Are the coordinates really not going to be right during the event? Are these spires actually coming to Fortnite OG, or is it going to be Reload? The more I look, it seems like the community is a little bit split on that idea, but again, it's just very fishy to me that Tilted Towers was the first target of the rocket, and that's the same place the spire is represented. And then also you've got these possible links to the Spirit Realm coming to OG. Things seem to line up for me personally. So like I said, be sure to drop your theories below for a chance to be featured in the next video. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed and you want to see more Fortnite lore videos, be sure to hit that subscribe button. Trust me, we've got a lot of big things happening this week and a lot of information that's getting ready to come out that you definitely do not want to miss. I appreciate you, and I'll see you in the next one.